The Russian Empire's annexation of Belarus, a defining chapter in Eastern European history. The annexation of Belarusian lands by the Russian Empire in the late 18th century was a watershed moment that profoundly shaped the trajectory of Belarus's national identity, language, religion, and political alignment, spanning more than a century. This period of imperial rule left a deep imprint on the social fabric and historical consciousness of the Belarusian people. Once an integral part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Belarus would find itself entangled in the policies of Russification, economic transformation, and cultural suppression under Tsarist control. The decline of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. For centuries, Belarusian territories were part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a dual-state union that stood as a major power in Eastern Europe. Within the Commonwealth, Belarusian society experienced a degree of autonomy and exposure to Western political and cultural traditions. Nobles spoke Polish, the Uniate Church thrived, and the Lithuanian statutes served as the foundation of local law. However, by the mid-1700s, the Commonwealth had weakened due to internal strife, ineffective governance, and growing pressure from neighboring powers. Seizing the opportunity, Russia, Prussia, and Austria orchestrated a series of territorial divisions known as the Three Partitions of Poland in 1772, 1793, and 1795. As a result, nearly all of modern-day Belarus was annexed by Imperial Russia, marking the end of Polish-Lithuanian sovereignty in the region. Imperial governance and the machinery of control once integrated into the Russian Empire. Belarusian territories were organized into gubernias provinces, under strict administrative control from St. Petersburg. The Russian authorities undertook a systematic campaign to eliminate local autonomy and enforce loyalty to the Tsar. A key component of this control was Russification, a policy aimed at assimilating non-Russian peoples by promoting the Russian language, Orthodox Christianity, and imperial ideology. Russian became the language of education, governance, and the courts. Belarusian and Polish languages were gradually banned in public schools and publications, and the Uniate Church, which had united Eastern Christian rites with Catholic allegiance, was forcibly converted into Russian Orthodoxy by the mid-1800s, serfdom and socio-economic transformation economically. The Russian Empire extended and institutionalized the system of serfdom, which placed millions of peasants under the control of landowning nobles. In Belarus, serfdom severely restricted economic mobility and deepened rural poverty. Peasants, many of them ethnic Belarusians, were forced to labor under harsh conditions with little hope of social advancement. Urban areas such as Minsk, Grodno, and Vitebsk were reshaped into administrative hubs for Russian officials and military garrisons, while some infrastructure and trade routes improved under imperial governance. These developments primarily served the needs of the empire rather than fostering local prosperity, cultural suppression, and silent resistance. Throughout the 19th century, Belarusian culture was systematically marginalized. Folk traditions, literature, and even the Belarusian language were considered backward or subversive by Russian officials. Intellectuals who sought to publish works in Belarusian often faced censorship or exile. Despite this suppression, elements of Belarusian identity persisted in oral traditions, songs, crafts, and family life. Many peasants retained their native dialects and customs, preserving a distinct cultural legacy that would later fuel national awakening. Resistance to Russian rule also manifested in more direct ways. The legacy of imperial rule. The annexation of Belarus by the Russian Empire did more than redraw borders. It redefined the identity and geopolitical orientation of an entire people. While the Tsarist regime brought infrastructure, bureaucracy, and military strength, it also imposed a foreign identity, language, and religion that many Belarusians resisted. This period laid the groundwork for later political and cultural movements. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Belarusian intellectuals began to articulate a clearer vision of national identity, one distinct from both Polish Romanticism and Russian imperialism. These ideas would gain momentum during the Russian Revolution, the brief independence of Belarusian People's Republic 1918, and later, under the Soviet Union, the Russian Empire's annexation of Belarus was not just a shift in territorial control, it was a complex, multi-generational transformation that reshaped every aspect of Belarusian life. Through policies of assimilation, repression, and economic exploitation, imperial rule sought to erase local identity. Yet, the Belarusian spirit endured in language, memory, and resistance. Understanding this chapter is essential to grasping Belarus's path toward nationhood and the enduring questions of sovereignty, culture, and identity that define its place in Eastern Europe today.